My name is Shelley Melgoza. I'm 31 years old, and I've been a preschool teacher for 8 years. Last January, my father stood in front of 150 doctors at a medical gala and said, "I basically babysit." The room laughed. He kept going. Finger paints, nap time, snack time. Not everyone can handle real medicine, but someone has to watch the toddlers. My mother smiled and nodded. My sister Madison looked down at her plate. She didn't say a word. I sat there in my $40 clearance dress and didn't move. What my father didn't know, what none of them knew when he turned my life's work into a punchline, was that the woman 3 tables away had a folder. Dr. Vivian Harper, my old high school counselor. Inside that folder were documents I didn't even remember signing, forms with my name on them, records spanning 7 years, proof of something my family had spent over a decade pretending never happened. And in less than 2 minutes, she was going to stand up, walk to that microphone, and tell 150 people exactly what those papers said. They thought this was his night. They had no idea what was coming. Before I continue, if this story speaks to you, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely connect with it. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? And to understand what was in that folder, you have to start with the future I was supposed to have. Dr. Harper wasn't just my high school counselor. She was the one who handed me the UC Berkeley acceptance packet in May of 2012. Full ride, 4 years, everything covered. Dorm assignment included. Orientation scheduled for August 23rd. I was 18. I'd worked for that scholarship since freshman year, straight A's, tutoring after school. 2 AP classes junior year, 4 senior year. Berkeley had been the plan since I was 15. 3 weeks after Dr. Harper gave me that packet, I walked back into her office and told her I couldn't go. She looked at me like I'd said I was dropping out of high school entirely. "What do you mean you can't go?" "My parents got contract positions, Dubai and Singapore. 7 years. They're leaving in June." "Ben, Shelley, that's wonderful for them, but what does that have to do with Madison's 11? She can't go with them. Boarding school is too expensive. They need someone to stay with her." Dr. Harper set down her pen. "They're asking you to stay." "Yeah. For 7 years. Yeah." She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "You're 18 years old." "I know. This is UC Berkeley, full ride. Do you understand what you're turning down?" I understood. I'd spent 3 years imagining that campus, the libraries, the lecture halls, leaving Oakland for the first time, building something that was mine. But Madison was 11, and someone had to stay. Dr. Harper spent 2 hours trying to change my mind. She pulled up statistics. She talked about my future. She said the word sacrifice 14 times. I counted, but I'd already decided. Finally, she asked me one last question. "Does Madison know you're giving this up for her?" "No." "Are you going to tell her?" "No." Dr. Harper looked at me for a long time. Then she did something I didn't understand. She made a copy of my Berkeley acceptance packet, the scholarship letter, the housing assignment, the orientation details. She put them in a folder and wrote my name on it. "Why are you doing that?" I asked. "Because someday," she said, "someone might need to know what you chose and what you gave up." I didn't think about that folder again for 14 years. Not until I was sitting in that ballroom watching my father accept an award for his international medical service from 2012 to 2019, the same 7 years I'd spent raising his daughter. Let me back up. Summer of 2012. My parents sat Madison and me down at the kitchen table. There was a contract on the table, Dubai Orthopedic Center. 2 years, renewable. My father had been offered a position as lead surgeon. My mother, an anesthesiologist, had been offered a position at the same facility. "This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity," my father said. "The pay is exceptional. Tax benefits. We'll be able to retire early." "That's great," I said. I meant it. At 18, I didn't really understand what it meant, but I knew my parents worked hard. Then my mother said, "Madison will stay here with you, Shelley." I remember the air going out of the room. What? She's 11. She can't come with us. Boarding school is $20,000 a year and we'll be paying for the Dubai apartment, storing our things here. It doesn't make financial sense. You're both going? I asked. Of course, my father said. These are dual positions. It's a package deal. For how long? The initial contract is 2 years, but if it goes well, we'll renew. Could be 5 years. Could be 7. I got into Berkeley, I said quietly. My mother waved her hand. You can go to community college here. Then transfer somewhere local. Berkeley will still be there in a few years. I have a full scholarship. Shelley, my father said, and his voice had that edge it got when he was done discussing something. Madison needs stability. You're 18. You're responsible. This is what family does. I looked at Madison. She was staring at her plate. She hadn't said a word. We'll send $500 a month, my mother added. That should cover food and basics. The apartment here is paid off. You'll just need utilities. $500 a month. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't even know if I was allowed to. So I said yes. By June, they were gone. My father's goodbye to me was a pat on the shoulder. My mother hugged Madison for 5 minutes and cried. Then she hugged me for 10 seconds and said, "Make sure she does her homework." And just like that, I was 18 years old with an 11-year-old to raise. The first thing I had to do was get guardianship paperwork. Madison needed to be enrolled in middle school. She needed a doctor. She needed someone who could sign permission slips and make medical decisions. I went to a notary at a UPS store on Telegraph Avenue. The woman looked at the forms and looked at me. You're the guardian? Yes. How old are you? 18. And the minor is your sister? Yes. Where are the parents? Dubai, working. She stamped the papers. Temporary guardianship. Valid for the duration of my parents' contracts, renewable as needed. I signed my name 4 times. Madison's school required a copy. Her pediatrician required a copy. Her orthodontist required a copy. On every single form, next to the word guardian, I wrote my name. Shelley Melgoza. I was 18 years old, and I was legally Madison's mother. The apartment was a 2-bedroom in East Oakland, $1,200 a month in rent, which my parents covered, but they didn't cover utilities, or food, or Madison's school supplies, or her clothes, or the field trip fees, or the orthodontist co-pays. $500 a month didn't come close. I got a job at Starbucks, 6 in the morning until 11, 4 days a week. Then I enrolled at Laney Community College. Classes from noon to 3, 3 days a week. Then I got a second job at a tutoring center, 4 in the afternoon until 8 at night. Madison got home from school at 3:15. I calculated it down to the minute. If I left my last class at 3 and drove straight to the apartment, I could get there by 3:12. She'd be alone for 3 minutes. 3 minutes, 4 days a week. I hated those 3 minutes. Madison was good about it. She had a key. She knew to lock the door behind her. She knew not to answer if someone knocked. She knew to text me the second she got inside. Home, she'd text. Good, snack in the fridge, homework at the table. I'll be back at 8:30. Every single day. I'd get home at 8:30, and she'd have her homework spread across the kitchen table. I'd make dinner. We'd eat. I'd check her math. We'd watch one episode of whatever show she was into that month. Then I'd make her lunch for the next day, and she'd go to bed. I'd stay up until midnight finishing my own homework, sleep until 5:30. Do it again. People ask me what I remember most about those years. It's not the big moments, it's the small ones. It's signing the permission slip for her 6th grade field trip to the Exploratorium and writing Guardian next to my name. It's sitting in a parent-teacher conference when I was 19 years old and having her English teacher say, "It's so nice to meet Madison's mom," and me not correcting her because it was easier. It's putting $20 on a payment plan every month for 2 years to cover her braces, $6,800 total. My parents sent me $300 toward it. Once, I covered the rest. It's teaching her to make mac and cheese from the box because that's what we could afford most nights. It's her crying about a boy in 8th grade and me sitting on her bed at 1 in the morning trying to figure out what to say because I was 20, and I'd never had time to date anyone seriously, and I didn't know how to tell a 13-year-old that boys were idiots without sounding like I had no idea what I was talking about, which I didn't. It's her asking, "When are mom and dad coming back?" And me saying, "I don't know, bud," because they'd renewed their contracts for another 2 years, and then another 2 after that, and I'd stopped keeping track. It's her asking, "Why didn't you go to Berkeley?" And me saying, it wasn't the right fit, because I couldn't tell her the truth, that I'd given it up for her, that I was 18 and I'd chosen her over everything I'd worked for. That I didn't regret it, but sometimes, late at night when I was washing dishes and she was asleep, and I hadn't talked to another adult all day, I wondered what my life would have looked like if I'd said no. I never told her any of that. I just said, "Community college is fine. I'll transfer eventually." I did transfer to San Francisco State when I was 23 and Madison was 16. I finished my BA in child development in 2019, the same spring Madison graduated high school. I walked across that stage at 25 years old, 7 years late. My parents didn't come. They were back in the States by then. They'd returned in late 2018, but Madison had a sorority formal that same weekend. They went to that instead. Tyler came to my graduation. I'd met him the year before, 2022, when I brought one of my preschool students to the ER after a fall. He was the paramedic who rode in with us. After the kid was stable and the parents arrived, he asked if I wanted coffee. I said yes. On our third date, he said, "You talk about your sister like she's your daughter." I laughed. "What? No, she's my sister." "You raised her." "I just helped out. My parents were—" "You were 18. They left you with an 11-year-old. For 7 years. You didn't help out. You were her parent." No one had ever said it out loud before. I started crying. Right there in the coffee shop. I didn't even know why. He reached across the table and took my hand. "It's okay." I don't know why I'm crying. Because someone finally said it. He was right. Tyler and I got engaged in December of 2023. We set the wedding for September 28th, 2025. Small ceremony. Redwood Grove in Marion County. 60 people. Just family and close friends. I paid for it myself. $15,000. My parents didn't offer to help. 2 weeks before the wedding, I sent the final timeline to everyone. Ceremony at 3. Cocktail hour at 4. Dinner at 5. Cake cutting at 5:30. First dance at 6. My mother called me the day after I sent it. "Shelley, we have a conflict." "What conflict?" "Madison's white coat ceremony is the next morning, in Sacramento. We want to have breakfast with her before it starts. It's at 11, and we want to leave by 8 to avoid traffic." I looked at the timeline. The wedding ends at 8. You could leave Sunday morning at 8 and be there by 9:30. That's plenty of time. We want to be rested. It's a big day for Madison. It's my wedding. We'll be there for the important part, the ceremony. We just can't stay for the whole reception. I didn't say anything. You understand, right? This is Madison's career, her future. Right, I said. I understand. I didn't, though. September 28th, my wedding day. My parents arrived at 3:18. The ceremony started at 3. They missed me walking down the aisle. They sat in the back. My mother cried through the entire ceremony. Afterward, during cocktail hour, she hugged me and said, "That was beautiful. You look so much like I did at my wedding." It just makes me think about when Madison gets married someday. I smiled. Thanks for coming. During dinner, my father shook Tyler's hand and said, "Take care of her. She's always been the responsible one." At 4:37, I know because the photographer time-stamped it, they stood up. "We need to head out," my father said. "We haven't cut the cake yet. That's at 5:30. It's a 2-hour drive, Shelley. We want to get a good night's sleep." "It's 93 miles. An hour 40. You could leave at 8 tomorrow morning and still make it." My mother put her hand on my arm. "Don't make this difficult. We've been here since 3. 3:18. We need to support Madison. This is important. I looked at Tyler. He was standing next to me, jaw tight. Okay, I said. Drive safe. They hugged me. Quick. Efficient. Then they left. Madison didn't come to my wedding at all. She texted me that morning. So sorry I can't make it today. White coat rehearsal is mandatory, and I'm exhausted. You understand. Love you. Have the best day. The rehearsal was optional. 30 minutes long. It ended at 6:30 Friday evening. My wedding was Saturday at 3. She posted Instagram stories from a bar with her PA classmates at 9:47 Friday night. Tyler's mom, Claire, stepped in during the cake cutting. She stood next to me and Tyler and smiled for the camera. Afterward, she hugged me and whispered, I know I'm not your mom, but I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. I tried not to cry. I didn't really succeed. There were 2 empty seats at our family table for the rest of the night. Everyone saw them. No one said anything. I smiled for photos. I danced with my husband. I thanked guests for coming. And something inside me went very, very quiet. The next day, Sunday, I opened Instagram while Tyler was at his paramedic shift. Madison's story. Posted at 10:32 Sunday morning. Breakfast with the best parents. Photo of her, my mom, and my dad at an IHOP. 11:15. White coat ceremony brunch. Mom and dad never miss my big moments. Heart emoji, sparkle emoji. 2:43. Family celebration continues. They were at a winery. Her main grid post later that evening. Grateful for parents who show up for everything. Some people are just blessed with the best family. 47 likes. 32 comments. Your parents are amazing. Family goals. So lucky. I was sitting on the floor of our apartment, surrounded by wedding gifts I hadn't opened yet. I stared at that post for a long time. Then I closed the app. I didn't cry. I just felt empty. Tyler came home at 6 the next morning. Found me still on the floor. Did you sleep? No. He sat down next to me, didn't say anything, just sat there. Finally, I said, they left my wedding to have brunch with her. I know. They could have driven up Sunday morning, easily. They chose to leave. I know. And she posted about how they never miss her big moments. Tyler pulled out his phone, looked at the post, looked at the timeline. The drive from your wedding venue to Sacramento is 93 miles. Google says 1 hour, 38 minutes. Her brunch started at 11. If they'd left your reception at 8, after everything was over, they'd have arrived at 9:38, 2 hours early. They left at 4:37, before cake cutting, before first dance, before any of it. He looked at me. They didn't leave because of logistics. They left because they wanted to. I nodded. And Madison didn't come at all. White coat rehearsal. Which was Friday night, optional, 30 minutes. We sat there in silence. Then Tyler said, I want you to do something. Over the next 2 weeks, Tyler helped me build a spreadsheet. Every dollar I'd given my family since 2012, every payment, every transfer, every emergency fund, every rent check, every car payment, every tuition help, bank statements, Venmo history, Cash App, even the ones I'd forgotten about. By the time we finished, the number at the bottom was $307,450. I stared at it. That can't be right. Tyler double-checked. It's right. $307,000 over 13 years. That's $23,650 per year, $1,973 per month, every single month, for 156 months, while I was working 2 jobs and going to community college, while I was signing guardianship papers and paying for braces, while I was raising Madison. My parents had sent $500 a month for 7 years, $42,000 total. That covered 19% of the actual cost. I'd covered the other 81%. Tyler pulled up another document. My parents' Instagram, Madison's Instagram, Facebook. He'd been tracking their visits. From 2019 to 2025, the 6 years after they came back from overseas, my parents had visited Madison 47 times. Birthdays, holidays, PA program events, just because weekends. They'd visited me 6 times. 6 times in 6 years. Tyler had screenshots, timestamps, posts captioned family dinner and surprise visit, and best parents ever. None of them included me. Then he showed me the milestone comparison. Madison's 21st birthday, weekend trip to Napa, parents paid, $2,800, Madison's PA program acceptance, celebration dinner at a steakhouse, 43 people, parents hosted, $1,800, Madison's first clinical rotation, parents threw a party at their house, catered, 30 guests, my college graduation, text from my mom. Proud of you, thumbs up emoji. My teaching credential, no acknowledgement. My promotion to program director at Little Steps Early Learning Center in January 2024. My mom said, "Oh, you're still at the same place?" Tyler looked at me. This isn't favoritism, this is a pattern. He was right. I'd spent 13 years being the backup plan, the ATM, the person who showed up when they needed something and disappeared when they didn't. And I'd let it happen. 2 weeks after the wedding in mid-October, Madison called me. I let it ring. She left a voicemail. Shells, hey, so my car insurance payment is due Friday, and I'm literally 280 short because my clinical rotation hours got cut, and can you Venmo me? I know you're probably still mad about the wedding, but this is urgent. Call me back? I listened to it twice, then I deleted it. Tyler came into the room. You okay? I didn't call her back. Good. My hands are shaking. That's okay. I'd never ignored Madison before, not once in 13 years. It felt like learning to breathe underwater. 3 days later, my mother called. Shelley, Madison said you haven't responded to her. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. She needs help with her car insurance. I know. Silence. Are you going to help her? No. Shelley, she's your sister. I'm aware. Why are you being difficult? I took a breath. You and Dad left my wedding at 4:37, before cake cutting, to drive to Sacramento for an 11 a.m. brunch. You could have left Sunday morning at 8 and made it with an hour to spare. You chose to leave my wedding. We were tired. It was a long day. You arrived at 3:18. You were there for an hour and 19 minutes. Silence. Shelley, I need some space. Space from what? From being the person everyone calls when they need something. That's what family does. No, I said. Family shows up. You didn't. I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I had to put the phone down. Tyler was watching from the doorway. Proud of you. I didn't feel proud. I felt sick. But I'd done it. For the next month, I practiced being unavailable. Madison called 4 more times. I didn't answer. My mother texted 6 times. I sent back one-word responses. Busy. Working. Can't. In mid-November, my mother called again. Thanksgiving is at our house. 2 p.m. Madison's bringing her boyfriend. We're expecting you and Tyler. We're going to Tyler's parents. What? This is a family holiday. Tyler's family is my family. Shelley, don't be childish. Madison specifically asked if you'd be there. I'm sure she'll survive one holiday without me. What is wrong with you? I'm setting boundaries. You're being selfish. I hung up. That night I texted her. We're going to Tyler's parents for Thanksgiving. We'll be spending holidays with them from now on. Please respect that. She didn't respond. Thanksgiving Day, Tyler's parents hosted 14 people, 2 tables pushed together, too much food, too much noise, too much laughter. Claire hugged me when we arrived. Welcome home, honey, I cried, not sad tears, relief. Tyler's dad, Glenn, raised his glass during dinner. To Shelley, who's been showing up for everyone else for 16 years. Tonight, we're showing up for her. Everyone clinked glasses. I looked around the table. Tyler's sister, her husband, their kids, Tyler's aunt and uncle, friends who'd become family. They were loud, chaotic, warm. They were mine. Later, Madison posted a photo. Her, my parents, and her boyfriend. 4 people around a table. Caption: Intimate family Thanksgiving. Grateful for these 3. 4 people. She didn't even mention I was missing. On December 28th, my mother called. Your father is receiving an award, the California Medical Society Gala, January 22nd. He's getting the International Service Award for his work from 2012 to 2019. It's a huge honor. We need you there. Mom, we came to your wedding. For an hour. We were there. That's what matters. Now it's your turn. This is important to your father. I'll think about it. Shelley, you owe us this much. That phrase. You owe us. 7 years I raised Madison. $307,000. 13 years of being the first call for every crisis. And I owed them. I'll think about it, I said again. She hung up. Tyler looked at me from the couch. You don't have to go. I know. He's getting an award for the years he left you to raise Madison. I know. So why are you thinking about it? I didn't have a good answer. Maybe I wanted them to see me. Just once. Maybe I thought if I showed up for something that mattered to him, he'd finally understand what I'd given up. Maybe I was still 18 years old, signing guardianship papers and thinking that if I just did enough, they'd love me the way they loved Madison. I don't know, I said. Tyler didn't push. He just said, I'm working a 24-hour shift that day, but if you need me, I'll leave. Just text. I bought a dress. Navy blue, Target clearance rack, $42. January 22nd, 2026. The Fairmont Hotel. Grand Ballroom. 150 people. Doctors, hospital administrators, medical society board members, everyone in cocktail attire. I arrived alone. My family was already there. Front table, my father in a tuxedo, my mother in a gown that probably cost more than my car payment. Madison in scrubs, she'd come straight from her clinical rotation, next to a guy I didn't recognize. Her boyfriend, probably. I was seated at their table. The place card said, Shelley Melgoza. They'd misspelled my name. Oh good, you made it, my mother said when I sat down. She air-kissed my cheek. You look nice. That's a pretty color. My father was networking, shaking hands, laughing. He glanced at me. Shelley, glad you're here. Madison looked up from her phone. Hey, Shells. This is Derek. Derek, my older sister. Derek shook my hand. Nice to meet you. Madison says you're a teacher? Preschool. Oh, cool. He turned back to Madison. No one asked about Tyler. No one asked about my job. No one asked about my life. I was a body filling a seat. Dinner was salmon or chicken. I don't remember which I ordered. The conversation flowed around me. Madison's clinical rotation, my father's award, my mother's plans to remodel the kitchen. I counted how many times they said Madison's name during dinner. 14. They said mine twice, both times to ask me to pass something. At 7:30, the award ceremony started. My father was the third recipient. They played a video. 7 years of his work. Surgeries in Dubai. Teaching residents in Singapore. Photos of him at conferences. Standing with other doctors. Cutting ribbons at clinic openings. 2012 to 2019. The same years I was signing Madison's permission slips for field trips. The video ended. The room applauded. My father walked to the stage. He accepted the Crystal Award, shook hands with the Medical Society president, stood at the podium. I'm deeply honored by this recognition, he said. International medical work requires sacrifice, time away from family, challenging conditions, long hours. but it's worth it to serve those who need us most. Applause. I couldn't have done this without support from my family, my wife, Diane, my partner in every sense. She supported me through those years abroad and continues to be my foundation. My mother smiled, dabbed her eyes. My daughter Madison, brilliant, driven, following in these footsteps into healthcare. I couldn't be prouder of her. Madison beamed. Derek put his arm around her. Then my father looked at me. And our older daughter, Shelley. Well, she's a preschool teacher. Pause. Scattered chuckles. Basically babysitting. The room laughed. A real laugh. 150 doctors finding that funny. He smiled, kept going. Finger paints? Nap time? Snack time? The whole thing. Not everyone can handle real medicine, you know, but someone has to watch the toddlers while the rest of us work. More laughter, louder this time. My mother smiled, nodded. Madison looked down at her plate. Didn't say anything. I sat there. Face neutral, hands folded in my lap. My phone buzzed. Tyler. You okay? I didn't respond. My father finished his speech. All jokes aside, we're grateful she found her calling, however modest. Family is what matters. Thank you all. Standing ovation. He walked back to our table. People stopped him to shake his hand. Congratulate him. He sat down. My mother kissed his cheek. That was perfect. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, stood in the stall and breathed, basically babysitting. Not everyone can handle real medicine. Someone has to watch the toddlers. 7 years. I'd raised Madison for 7 years, while he was getting awards. And he'd just told 150 people I babysat for a living. I went back to the table. The MC was at the podium. Thank you, Dr. Melgoza. Our next speaker needs no introduction. Dr. Vivian Harper, Chair of the Harper Foundation for Educational Equity. Dr. Harper will speak about the critical intersection of early childhood education and long-term health outcomes. I looked up. Dr. Harper. She was here. I hadn't seen her in 14 years. She looked the same, older but the same, gray hair, sharp eyes. That expression she used to get when she was disappointed in you but too polite to say it. She walked past my table, made eye contact with me, didn't smile, just looked at me. Like she knew, like she'd heard every word. Then she walked to the stage. Good evening, she said. I'm honored to speak with you tonight about something many in medicine overlook. The foundation of health doesn't begin in hospitals. It begins in the first 5 years of life. And the people doing that work, early childhood educators, are systematically undervalued, underpaid, dismissed. She paused. I was a high school counselor for 23 years before I moved into education policy. I've worked with thousands of students, seen thousands of futures shaped by single decisions. And I've learned something important. The people we dismiss as basically babysitting are often the ones holding everything together. My father shifted in his seat. I'd like to tell you about one student. We'll call her S, brilliant girl, straight A's, AP classes, full ride scholarship to UC Berkeley, child development major. She was going to change the field. I could see it. My heart stopped. 3 weeks after I gave her the acceptance packet, she came back to my office, told me she couldn't go. Her parents, both doctors, had accepted 7-year contracts abroad. Her younger sister was 11. Someone needed to stay. That someone was S. She was 18 years old. Dr. Harper looked directly at our table. I tried to change her mind, for 2 hours, but she'd already decided. She gave up Berkeley, enrolled in community college, got 2 jobs, raised her sister, signed guardianship papers, became a legal parent at 18. She did that for 7 years, while her parents built their careers abroad. My mother's face had gone white. S eventually finished her degree, 7 years late, became a preschool teacher, an excellent one. I've followed her career. She now serves 85 children whose families can barely afford care. She shows up every day. She sees them. She loves them. Dr. Harper paused. Last month, S's father stood in front of an audience and called her work basically babysitting. Said someone has to watch the toddlers while the real professionals work. He received an award for his 7 years abroad, the same 7 years S spent raising his daughter. The room was silent. S is here tonight. Shelley Melgoza. Every head turned. I couldn't move. Shelley, would you stand, please? I stood, legs shaking. Dr. Melgoza received an award tonight for international service from 2012 to 2019. I'd like to show you what Shelley was doing during those same years. The screen behind her lit up. Guardianship papers. My signature. Dated June 2012. Medical authorization forms. My signature. School emergency contact forms. Oakland Unified School District. Parent/guardian line. Shelley Melgoza. Parent-teacher conference sign-in sheet. Fall 2014. Shelley Melgoza, guardian. Another. Spring 2015. Shelley Melgoza, guardian. Another. Fall 2016. Shelley Melgoza, guardian. 7 years of them. Then the UC Berkeley acceptance letter. Full ride scholarship. Declined. A video started playing. Madison's high school counselor. Shelley was always so involved. Every parent night, every conference, never missed one. Madison's orthodontist office manager. Shelley handled all the appointments. Very responsible guardian, always on time with payments. A woman I didn't recognize. Shelley was at every one of Madison's soccer games. I thought she was the mom. She acted like the mom. It wasn't until Madison's graduation that I realized she was the older sister. The screen went dark. Dr. Harper spoke again. In 2019, Madison graduated high school, went to college. Shelley was 25. She'd spent her entire youth being a parent. Did her family acknowledge this? Did they thank her? She pulled out a piece of paper. Last September, Shelley got married. Her parents attended. They left at 4:37 p.m., before the cake cutting, before the first dance, to drive to Sacramento for Madison's physician assistant program brunch the next morning. A brunch that started at 11 a.m. They could have left Sunday morning at 8 and arrived with an hour to spare. They left Shelley's wedding instead. My mother was crying. My father was staring at his hands. Madison's face was white. Madison didn't attend the wedding at all. She had a white coat ceremony rehearsal, which was optional, 30 minutes, on Friday evening. Shelley's wedding was Saturday afternoon. Madison posted Instagram stories from a bar with friends Friday night at 9:47 p.m. She posted about her family brunch Sunday morning. Caption: Mom and Dad never miss my big moments. Dr. Harper looked at my sister. Madison, you were raised by Shelley. From age 11 to 18, she signed your forms, paid your bills, went to your conferences, taught you to drive, helped you with college applications. She gave up UC Berkeley to do that. And you called it boarding at my sister's place. Madison's hands were over her face. Dr. Harper turned back to the audience. Shelley Melgoza wasn't babysitting, she was parenting. And tonight I'm honored to present her with the Harper Foundation's Unsung Heroes Award. $75,000 in professional development funding, $25,000 personal award. And this, she held up a framed certificate, official recognition, Shelley Melgoza, for 16 years of service to children, 7 years raising her sister, 8 years serving Oakland's families, for showing up when no one else would, for being the foundation when everyone else left, for turning sacrifice into strength. The room stood, 200 people applauding. Dr. Harper gestured to me. Shelley, would you come up here, please? I walked to the stage, legs barely working. She handed me the award, hugged me, whispered in my ear. I kept the Berkeley packet. I kept everything, because I knew someday someone would need to know what you gave up. Today is that day. She stepped back, handed me the microphone. Would you like to say anything? I looked out at the room, at my parents, my mother sobbing, my father unable to look at me, Madison with her hands still over her face. I spoke. I don't have a prepared speech. I just need to say one thing. My voice was steady, calm. I wasn't babysitting Madison. I was raising her. From the time I was 18 until I was 25, I signed the guardianship papers. I went to the parent-teacher conferences. I paid for her braces. I taught her to drive. I helped her apply to college. I sat with her when she cried about boys and friendship drama. I made sure she ate. I made sure she did homework. I was there. I looked at my parents. I wasn't your backup plan. I wasn't your extra pair of hands. I was the one raising your child while you built your careers. That wasn't babysitting. That was my life. 7 years of my life. And I'm done pretending it was anything less. The room was silent. I handed the microphone back to Dr. Harper. She took it, looked at my parents. Dr. and Mrs. Melgoza, Madison, I hope you heard that. Then she turned to the audience. This is why early childhood education matters. Because the people doing it, people like Shelley, understand what it means to show up, to see a child, to be present. They've been doing it their whole lives, often invisible, always essential. Let's stop calling it babysitting. The room stood again, applauded for 2 solid minutes. I walked back to my table, picked up my purse, walked out. My mother tried to follow me into the lobby. Shelley, please, can we talk? Not now. We didn't know you felt. You didn't ask. For 13 years. We thought you were okay with. I was 18, Mom. I gave up Berkeley. I raised Madison. And you just let me. You took my money. You took my time. You took 7 years of my life. And then Dad stood up there and called it babysitting. He didn't mean. Yes, he did. She reached for me. Shelley, you need to leave. Please. Tyler appeared. He'd left his shift, driven straight here. She asked you to leave, he said. My mother looked at him, then at me. Then she walked away. Madison approached, slowly. Her face was wet with tears. Shells, I didn't know. About the guardianship papers. About Berkeley. I didn't. You called it boarding at my place, Madison. 7 years. I raised you, and you made it sound like you were just crashing on my couch. I was 11. I didn't understand. You're 24 now. You've been an adult for 6 years. You never asked. You never even wondered. I'm so sorry. I know, but I can't do this right now. I walked away. Tyler drove me home. I didn't cry. I just stared out the window. When we got to the apartment, I finally spoke. She kept the Berkeley packet, Dr. Harper, for 14 years. She kept it. I know. She remembered. Someone needed to. That night, I sent an email. Subject: Boundaries going forward. Mom, Dad, and Madison, I need space. I don't know for how long. What I do know. I was Madison's legal guardian from age 18 to 25. That's documented. I gave $307,450 to this family over 13 years. That's documented. I gave up Berkeley, relationships, and 7 years of my youth. That's real. You consistently chose Madison over me. That's a pattern. I'm not asking for apologies right now. I'm not asking for explanations. I'm asking for space. When and if you're ready to genuinely acknowledge what those 7 years were, not helping out, not boarding, but parenting, we can talk. Until then, please don't contact me. Tyler and I need to build our life without being your emergency fund or backup plan. I hope someday we can rebuild something, but it has to be built on truth. Shelley, I hit send. All three opened it within 10 minutes. No one responded. The next evening, Tyler's parents threw a dinner. Just family. Claire, Glenn, Tyler's sister and her husband, a few close friends. Claire hugged me at the door, held me for a long time. I watched the video Dr. Harper posted, the whole ceremony. 40,000 views already. Really? You were incredible. So was she. We sat down to dinner. Homemade lasagna, Tyler's family recipe. Glenn raised his glass. To Shelley, who showed up for everyone else for 16 years. Tonight, we show up for her. Welcome to our family. Really, truly, ours. Everyone clinked glasses. After dinner, Claire handed me a box. Inside was a shadow box frame. Behind the glass, my guardianship papers. The ones from the ceremony. Matted and framed. So you never forget, she said, who you were, who you are, What you did. I cried. Good tears, relief tears. Thank you. You're ours now, Claire said. That means we see you, we celebrate you, we show up. That's what family does. Tyler's arm was around me. His family surrounded me. Loud, warm, chaotic. Mine. I was home. The next Monday, I went back to Little Steps. The director hugged me. I saw the video. I sent it to every parent in our program. You want to know what they said? What? They said they finally understand why you're so good at this. You've been doing it since you were 18. One of the mothers stopped me at drop-off. Miss Shelley, I watched your awards ceremony. My daughter says you're the best teacher she's ever had. Now I know why. You've been showing up for children your whole life. I smiled. Thank you. No, thank you. 3 days after the ceremony, something appeared on my desk at work. A manila envelope. I opened it. Inside, printed copies of the guardianship papers from the ceremony. Madison's high school diploma, my signature on the back as guardian, photos I'd never seen, me at Madison's 8th grade graduation, me at her high school orientation, me at her first day of college. In all of them, I was the one taking the photo. Madison had kept them. And a letter. 3 pages. Handwritten. Shells, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to even read this. But I need to say it. I found these papers. The guardianship forms. I never knew they existed. I was 11 when this started. By the time I was old enough to understand, I'd already rewritten it in my head. I called it staying with you. I called it boarding. I made it small because it was easier than facing what it really was. You were my mother. For 7 years. You were 18, I was 11, and you gave up everything. I used to tell people, my parents worked abroad. I never said my sister raised me. I never said Shelley signed my permission slips. I never said Shelley taught me to drive. I erased you from my own story. And I'm so sorry. I can't give you back Berkeley. I can't give you back your 20s. I can't give you back the $307,000 or the 7 years. But I can stop pretending those years were anything other than what they were. You raised me, you parented me, you loved me when our parents chose their careers over both of us. I'm not asking you to call me, I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know. I see it now. I see what you did. I see what it cost, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be worth it. I love you. I'm sorry it took me this long to understand what that should mean. Madison. P.S. I'm looking for a therapist who specializes in family systems. My PA program has resources. I need to understand how I became this person who took so much and saw so little. I don't want to be her anymore. I read it 3 times. Tyler found me crying at my desk during lunch. Good crying or bad crying? I don't know. Both. He held me. That's allowed. I kept the letter, put it in my desk drawer. I didn't respond. Not yet. Maybe not for a while. But I kept it. February turned into March. Spring came to Oakland. The jacaranda trees bloomed purple. My students made Mother's Day cards in April. One of them gave hers to me. You're like my second mom, she said. I hung it on my classroom wall. My phone buzzed with texts I didn't open. From my mother, please call, we need to talk. From my father, your mother is very upset, call her. I deleted them. From Tyler, dinner at my parents' tonight, mom's making your favorite. I responded with a heart emoji. That evening, Claire's kitchen. 14 people, Tyler's family. Loud, warm, chaotic. One of Tyler's nieces, 7 years old, asked me, Miss Shelley, did you really raise a whole kid when you were a teenager? I did. That's like being a superhero. I laughed. I don't know about that. My mom says you're the strongest person she knows. I looked at Tyler's sister. She smiled at me. Your mom is very kind. After dinner, Tyler and I drove home. Quiet, peaceful. He reached over and took my hand. How are you? I don't know. Different. Good different. Yeah? Yeah. We pulled into our parking spot, sat in the car for a minute. Madison texted me, Tyler said. What did she say? She asked if you got her letter. I got it. Are you going to respond? Eventually, maybe. When I'm ready. That's allowed. I looked at him. I know. I'm learning. We went inside. Our small apartment. Our life. Ours. The next day, I was setting up my classroom for morning circle when I noticed something on my desk. The shadow box Claire had given me. My guardianship papers. Framed. I'd brought it to work. Hung it on the wall next to my teaching credential. Proof. I wasn't their babysitter. I wasn't their backup plan. I was the one who showed up. For 7 years. For 13 years. For 16 years if you counted the children I taught now. And finally, someone had called it what it was. Parenting. Sacrifice. Love that cost everything. My father stood in front of 150 people and called it babysitting. Dr. Harper stood in front of 200 and called it what it was. And I stood on that stage and said, I was never your extra pair of hands. I was the one raising your child. The truth has a voice now, and it's mine. I looked at the guardianship papers on my wall. My 18-year-old signature. The girl who chose her sister over everything. I didn't regret her choice, but I wasn't her anymore. I was 31 now, married, teaching, building a life with people who saw me, who chose me, who showed up. My phone buzzed. Tyler. Love you. See you tonight. I texted back. Love you too. Outside, my students were lining up. 18 4-year-olds waiting for morning circle. I opened the door. They ran in. Loud. Chaotic. Beautiful. Good morning, Miss Shelley. Good morning, friends. Who's ready to learn? Every hand went up. I smiled. This was my work, not babysitting, teaching, loving, showing up. The same thing I'd been doing since I was 18. Just this time, people were finally calling it by its name.